Hello to all Transformers fans. Today, I have some really bad news about the Transformers universe to share with you. But before we start, I have a small request. If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. You see, YouTube's algorithm doesn't recommend my long videos much. However, as the like-to-view ratio increases, my videos will get pushed forward by the algorithm, which will motivate me greatly to keep making regular content for you every day. Now, let's dive into the topic. As you know, the Transformers franchise has been around for 40 years. Since its debut, it has become one of the most popular comic series in the world. It also achieved great box office success in the movie industry. Unfortunately, this box office success started to decline after 2017's Transformers: The Last Knight. In 2024, the franchise took a major hit with Transformers 1, marking a low point. Today's news is based on a statement by Hasbro's CEO, Chris Cox. According to Cox, Hasbro will no longer finance Transformers movies directly. This means Hasbro won't produce Transformers films independently anymore. Instead, they'll rely on partnerships with other studios, delegating the story and production to them, but only if they manage to find a partner. If no partnership is established, it might be a long time before we see another Transformers movie. Hasbro plans to redirect its funding toward video games, toys, and similar projects. This likely means we won't see Transformers on the big screen for a while. The reason for this decision is clear. In recent years, Transformers films have been losing money, and Hasbro doesn't want to take that risk anymore. If they do make movies in the future, they'll either collaborate with another studio to share the financial risk, or they'll sell the film rights outright and only focus on promotions. If they choose the latter, Hasbro won't have any creative control over the films. Whether this is good or bad is hard to say right now, because Hasbro and Paramount are largely to blame for the state of the franchise today. Speaking of Paramount, let me briefly explain how they mishandled the Transformers movie series. Starting in 2007 with live-action Transformers films, the series had a rocky reception. While it became incredibly popular worldwide, fans who grew up with the 1980 Transformers series criticized the live-action designs, saying they strayed too far from the iconic looks of the original cartoons and comics. As the series progressed, the quality of the films dropped. Michael Bay's films were often criticized for prioritizing action over storytelling. Critics and longtime fans were vocal about their disappointment. Initially, the films performed well at the box office thanks to their unique spectacle. However, the rise of the Marvel Cinematic Universe gradually overshadowed the Transformers franchise. This led to Transformers: The Last Knight being a major financial flop. Even though Bumblebee managed to recover some goodwill, it still fell short compared to the franchise's earlier heights. In 2023, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts continued the downward trend. Finally, 2024's Transformers 1 marked a low point for the series, failing at the box office. In my opinion, if the franchise had continued the story left off in The Last Knight instead of rebooting after Bumblebee, it might have recovered. At the very least, it wouldn't have performed as poorly as Rise of the Beasts. The Bay films had already established a cohesive universe. Rebooting it essentially wiped away years of world building. After years of failure, Hasbro and Paramount finally decided to rethink their strategy. Hasbro's next big Transformers project is a G.I. Joe crossover. Both franchises are owned by Hasbro. But here's the issue. While Transformers remains globally popular, G.I. Joe is far less recognized, even in the US where it originated. Combining a struggling franchise with one that's less popular doesn't seem like a smart move. Let me remind you, Transformers 1 didn't fail because it was a bad movie. Most people who watched it were eager for a sequel, but the way the film was marketed was a disaster. With childish trailers, they alienated hardcore Transformers fans. If Marvel Studios had handled this franchise, it could have made billions by now. But after this latest news, I'd say don't expect a sequel to Transformers 1. My personal opinion? Paramount should end this new series entirely and drop the G.I. Joe crossover idea. The Transformers we know and love never needed G.I. Joe to succeed. If anything, they should go back and finish the story left off in The Last Knight. Better yet, they could create a standalone movie centered around a beloved character like Optimus Prime or Bumblebee. New faces, new stories, they're not always necessary. Look at Marvel. They've built entire phases around a few key characters like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. In the end, Transformers doesn't need drastic changes to succeed. Speaking of changes, let's talk briefly about the animated side of the franchise. Instead of shows like Earthspark, why not create something in the vein of Transformers? Prime? Fans grew up with that level of storytelling. Even Riot Games, primarily a game studio, has managed to create masterpieces like Arcane. If Transformers were given the same level of care, it could easily regain its former glory. This news has left me both saddened and frustrated. Until Hasbro makes a new announcement or finds a studio for the next movie, there's nothing more to discuss. I hope they hand the franchise to a capable studio that can do it justice. If that happens, I'm confident we'll see a much better film. Until the next video, take care of yourselves. And once again, if you like this video, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a like. This helps my videos get recommended by YouTube's algorithm, allowing me to create more content for you. Stay safe and goodbye.